Of the many compliments that I could give Bullet for My Valentine based on this new album that they've released, whether it be the standard edition or the deluxe edition, however you prefer to look at it, if I had to only give one compliment, I would say it's instigated a reminiscence of the past, of when I fell in love with Bullet for My Valentine for the first time. And granted, full confession, I haven't listened to their entire body of work. Some of their older albums I have to give a try to, and I'm sure it'll probably end up in a purchase, but I remember when I first came to Bullet for Valentine, perhaps I'm mixing up tracks, although I think I'm pretty sure on this one, it was with Screaming Fire. It just popped on my YouTube feed one day, and I figured, okay, I'm in the mood for some new music. This is like probably a decade ago. I'm going to try it out. From the get-go, I've loved them. And, the hits since, I carry a wealth of their tracks. Not every single one, again, admittedly, but I've got a big storage of them on my phone. I've really loved them over the years. And with the new album release, I liked Gravity. I've stated this before as well. Gravity was a good album, but their softer stuff is good too. But I do feel that my being a metalhead, that's more so what I'm driven to from them. Because again, they're just so talented in that space as both just, heavy metal musicians generally, and specifically European artists, which my playlist continues to be growing in terms of international talent, specifically from Europe. I mean, we got good American metal groups, but Europe has some of the best. Anyway, with this album, I've really felt that I've been diving back into what I love with Bullet for My Valentine when I first came across their work. And this album, all the way, it's been more, heavy metal based, much more like a return to roots of what I'm familiar with from the early days of Bullet for My Valentine. But man, it is delivered. All 10 tracks, fabulous, replays on my phone. I listen to them pretty much nonstop. And this deluxe edition is fabulous too. So of course I'm really excited to listen to a new track from this upcoming deluxe edition, which I've already pre-ordered. It's coming out August 5th, so we got a short window in regard to the track's release, and I'm really excited to hear more. And this will probably be the last single we get ahead of Step Out from the Inside and This Means War, which I might cover. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really looking forward to hearing this new track, No More Tears, or No More Tears to Cry. I see a bit of difference on the name. iTunes says it's No More Tears. YouTube and a couple of the lyric sites says that I'm reading this off of say No More Tears to Cry. So I'm not exactly sure what the title is here officially. But either way, new Bullet for My Valentine music. Love the chance to cover this group again. I love covering music on this channel. Again, I tend to cover many entertainment ventures, but music for me is a personal favorite. And Bullet for My Valentine. One of my regrets, in fact, I didn't cover the standard edition album, and I could have. I just wasn't doing as much extensively in regard to music coverage at the time. In the months since I've really progressed in that space much more, I've really opened the door in regard to bands that have inspired me, or bands I think are very interesting to cover and talk about, and talents I want to highlight on this channel. I'm very happy to give the same treatment to Bullet for My Valentine. It's just so much fun for me to talk about a group that I really feel are signature metal talents. Love them. Let's go ahead and go and give No More Tears a listen, this new deluxe song. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And of course, as I usually do in this case, we don't have a visualizer like the past couple of videos. Omen got a lyric video, Stitches got a visualizer, and the visualizers have been a lot of fun. But we did get the track. I'm going to pull up the lyrics over your convenience should you choose to read along. Based on the message, this could go a variety of different ways. Perhaps it might go into a softer direction. Again, I read the message, I'm like, okay, I could see, based on my understanding of other bands that have kind of talked about similar topics, there's a bit of a genre floating here. Or this could be following the path of the album generally, which has been much more metal intensive, sticking specifically to one genre rather than past releases, perhaps like Gravity, which was more like a hodgepodge of styles, which were all great. But again, it was like, I want the more, I wish we had more rock stuff in the entirety of the album when we got it here. Without further ado, No More Tears or No More Tears to Cry, however you prefer to refer to the song, because they haven't really expressed which title we're supposed to refer to this track by. Okay, here we go. It's rougher. Like I said, it could have gone either direction. Good intro to the song, too. I like that. So there is a bit of a mixture here of style. I like it. That's good. It's a really good follow-up to Stitches. Ah, it's fabulous. Real balance here. I love the switch in middle of styles for doing verses. It's perfect. This verse is really strong. Again, it's like he's reading my mind. It's weird because I'm much more reserved. I'm not usually this open. It's like, how did he see what I'm going through? I mean, it's more of a universal message, but still. Really strong writing. And riffs. Ah, beautiful. I forget this lead singer's name, but his vocals are always a treat to listen to. Very engaging. Good end too. Finish on a scream. High note. Although I'm kind of surprised, and the majority of tracks on this album have always included a riff from... It's funny, for me, again, like I said, I should know this better, but for this group, I sometimes don't know always the singers and the talented individuals themselves by name, but, I refer to them as Boulevard Valentine, but their guitarists as well. I was familiar with the songs thus far on this self-titled album, and this is also familiar with past releases from Boulevard Valentine, of course, but there's always like that middle riff, that, break in the middle of the song, well, actually towards the second chorus. They're like, okay, we've jumped back into the familiar, expertly talented guitar solo right in that middle section of the song. I was kind of expecting that here because some of the other tracks have flowed in the same direction. Really balanced tune, tonally. I like that. Like I said, I could see this song based on the message in regard to the musical direction going two different ways. Groups that have expressed the same type of sentiment within their work. Let's say, for example, to make an analogy, 3 Days Grace. Reading the message of this song reminded me a lot of like Never Too Late. Just in that type of energy, and Never Too Late, it definitely didn't have that rock foundation, but they were much softer. I mean, think about the way the song was introduced. From the minute you just saw, if you watched the video, you had Adam Gontier just on the guitar independently, and then the band kicked in with the percussion a little later after a couple of verses and with the chorus, right? It grew in intensity, but the message had a softer delivery, at least in some particular sections, so that the message could be strengthened. Same thing here. Because the message in some points is incredibly valuable to listeners. In those sections, the song drops in its intensity, but then it roars back up to speed. So you feel like this song fits very well into an album that is very metal-centric, but has a unique spin that incorporates the more like ballad-like direction. But it doesn't... It gives you that blend. So perhaps if maybe you're in one world or the other in regard to your particular style favorability, it gives you a combination. And it's, I think, expertly tailored to both. It's a beautiful mixture. Beautifully paced. Really engaging tune. And the message. I mean, again, you read this and it's a very universal expression. There's an itch onto my skin. Is this pain another sin? Very visual. I mean, dark, but that's oftentimes what artists, especially in the rock scene, and this is why I prefer rock music. I come to this conclusion from a variety of perspectives. Specifically as a Christian, I've seen this abundant within the Christian rock music market, but I've also seen this among outside groups from that affiliation as well. There's a passion among different rock artists to really speak to the practical issues day to day that people are dealing with, especially the issues that perhaps are more clandestine. For somebody who's in a stage of feeling the adversity that life can bring in whatever context that might be, and feeling that weight heavier than what oftentimes we would perhaps perceive, right, looking at a person. There's that feeling of a track that perhaps if you're not experiencing, and this is again why I love rock music, especially the music that dives deep into real issues, if you don't feel that connection with somebody, I didn't. Most people in my life didn't really. I got a lot of criticism, and I probably still do for years, even maybe it's said behind my back, in regard to my music taste, so I've heard the judgmental feedback. But for me, I was dealing with a lot of crap in my life that not many people were helping me out with. And so where did I turn to? I turned to music. Now, as a Christian, perhaps I should have maybe turned a little more to God and prayer, and that's, admittedly, I wouldn't dispute that. Something I obviously need to work on. I'm not perfect by any means, but music for me, we look to practical solutions. And I do think that music is an invaluable resource, perhaps, for healing and catharsis of just coming to terms with your life and what you're experiencing. That's why I think Stitches really stuck with me. In particular, because as I stated in the context of the video, I'll keep it simple here. Stitches really spoke to me in that particular wording of that song reminded me a lot of how I've been healing and surviving from 21 years of emotional abuse. This song, similar sentiment. This feeling, again, of questioning what your life looks like amidst turbulent situations. And the chorus really just, I think, delivers it so well. Again, visually written in some parts, it has a darker direction, which, again, that's who it's appealing to, though. The song is trying to speak to people in that position of life. So perhaps it needs to get a bit disturbing to what people in a healthier state of mind to be like, oh, this sounds so dark. Well, it's like, people out there that this is, a day-to-day process, right? With no hope, there's nothing left. You're not afraid of death. It's lines that stick with you. When you can't rely on faith, I mean, maybe again, like I said, a Christian, I perhaps have a different perspective on that, but like when you should rely on faith a little more, admittedly, again, I'm not perfect in that. Got the cycle of self-hate? Oh, that stings, because that's true with me. Again, I'm not going to go into detail. I already did with Stitches. Healing is a process, I guess to state it simply. And Bullet for My Valentine is really given, I think, especially in this album, a lot of helpful songs for perhaps people in my situation or, in their own situation, perhaps yours, where you feel no one is really connecting with you the best. Songs like this, I would imagine most people probably would agree on this, give, I'm sure probably for many of you out there, but also for me, a feeling of that someone out there understands where you're at, right? Or at least, even if a song, sometimes, it's hard for people to connect with individuals, right? I certainly know this. I do tend to prefer music over people. And it's something I could imagine there would be people out there that listen to that and think, oh, that's kind of an unhealthy way to look at life. That, personal relationships and fellowship with, other people is invaluable, and I wouldn't argue that. But just based on my situation, I tend to prefer healing without judgment, or even risk of. Music doesn't judge you. Music is an aid, and I felt that that's been especially present among the deluxe edition tracks thus far on Bullet for Valentine's self-titled album, and this track certainly remains consistent along that line. It's just beautifully written. Very empowering song, too. Very resonant, I'm sure, for people who are in this situation. It connects. What are your guys' thoughts of No More Tears or No More Tears to Cry? Again, I think Bullet for Valentine has to clear up some of the confusion here on what exactly is the title we refer to the song as, but, the song itself is fabulous. Maybe for you this was a first-time listen. Maybe you've never listened to Bullet for Valentine before, and you're like, oh, I really like the track. I'm inspired to check out some of their work. I would definitely say they've had many hits over their past how many years of, being artists. They've released some killer tracks, but this album especially is just beautiful. I haven't listened to it in its totality. I would highly recommend it. But for those of you, perhaps maybe you're a longtime fan, I'd love to hear the angle you come from, as well as your overall thoughts of the song. And are you excited to hear the other two tracks, Step Out from the Inside and This Means War? Those have been two left. I would imagine they're waiting to release those, considering we're only about a week out from the release. Yay. Let me know your thoughts down below on this one. Again, I think it's just a beautiful song. If you're curious as to maybe some of my thoughts on some of their older music, I'll state this in the future. I think I will. I did this for, again, paying penance, I guess. I wish I'd covered the standard edition of this album on this channel. I just wasn't doing as much music-wise back then. I might give the next two tracks a listen, even if, again, they release with the album. Because these songs have been so good, I would love to cover Bullet for Valentine more in depth and to share my overall thoughts on the first listen. So keep your eyes peeled in the future for Step Out from the Inside and This Means War. I might have videos later. I can't tell you when. I'll probably try and cover those tracks. But if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on Bullet for Valentine, perhaps with some of their older work, I've been stating this as well, pretty regularly in my music coverage. I'm going to be starting a channel as of the new year on January 1st. That's my goal. I'm starting production pretty soon on it. It's going to be called Symphonies and Small Talk. Both of these channels are going to be connected in that this channel that you're watching is focused more so on first impressions and reactions to new music versus Symphonies and Small Talk, which will feature, I'm sure, many groups, including Bullet for Valentine, that I've covered here. But music for me that's, over the years, I've heard and I've really come to love from whatever angle it might be. It might be a different genre. It might be a different presence of artists. For example, I've got, pretty exorbitant list at this point, and I've got a wide range of very familiar talent, big names versus maybe some smaller indie artists. It's a good mix. But I want to cover music, and I want to be able to discuss music greater in depth and perhaps introduce you to music that's really inspired me, and perhaps that we can not only appreciate good art together, but that I can introduce you perhaps, and maybe you're somebody looking for a deeper resonance that music can bring. It's, again, an invaluable resource that I think just really speaks to people. I've got so many tracks in mind that have spoken to me, and I'd love to share those types of thoughts and feelings. There's just maybe even some, tracks out there that I just think are, good pieces of art overall. Maybe not necessarily connected to that strength of a message, but, just good creative expressions. Bullet for Valentine, along with many other groups, will be making, I think, a couple of appearances to be sure. Maybe I'll be able to talk about some of their older tracks as well on that channel. So if you're interested in more music coverage, perhaps, and maybe more my thoughts on Bullet for Valentine, keep your eyes peeled for both Symphonies and Small Talk again sometime, I'm hoping for the new year. We'll see how best I can deliver on that promise, but I'm trying. But as well in the future with this channel, keep your eyes peeled for Step Out from the Inside and This Means War. Again, I'm going to try and have that coverage out after the video or after the album debuts, but I'd like to talk about them on a deeper level. Because No More Tears to Cry, like Stitches, very powerful song. I think between the two, again, Stitches is so good, but maybe this track will grow to be my favorite. Who knows? But I love Stitches. But this is a good compliment and another fine addition to the deluxe album. I love it. Great song from Bullet for Valentine. I've come to expect nothing less from them at this point. This has been a real beautiful album. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.